What are the top 10 conspiracy theories in ancient history? Stay tuned to find out. Well, everybody, thanks very much for clicking onto this video and joining my channel. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't done so already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I'm really enjoying doing these historical videos. But yeah, folks, welcome back to Top 10s in history. And again, as I stress all the time, these top 10s are based on what AI reckons, although I will delve into a bit more like analysis according to what I've written down and specific situations and stuff. So just bear that in mind. But I received a comment during the week about on one of my other top 10 videos. I've done two so far, to do the top 10 conspiracy theories in ancient history. I had no clue whatsoever about which various type of conspiracy theories there was out there, especially ancient history stuff. So I was really looking forward to this video, and this is what today's topic will be on. It's the top 10 ancient or conspiracy theories in ancient history, and I've done up to before the year 1800, just because I do know a few conspiracy theories around in the 19th and 20th century. So I could do separate videos in those. So this video will delve into the top 10 conspiracy theories before the year 1800. So without any further ado, let's get into it, folks. In 10th place, we'll have Shakespeare wasn't the author. Who was William Shakespeare, if you don't know? Well, Shakespeare was an English playwright and actor. He was 1564 to 1616 from Stratford upon Avon, and he was credited with writing 37 plays. I'm sure you've heard some of them, such as Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet, and 154 sonnets. He was born to a Glover, and his modest education contrasts with his literary genius, and I think this is where the conspiracy theory comes from. His education was likely limited to local grammar school, and his life lacks evidence of extensive travel or scholarly pursuits. What are the conspiracy theories? Well, by the late 18th century, doubts surfaced about his authorship. How could a man of modest means master law, history, and languages in the works like King Lear or The Tempest? Alternatives include Francis Bacon, philosopher for his intellectual breadth; Edward de Vere, 17th Earl of Oxford, nobleman with courtly knowledge; or Christopher Marlowe, who was a playwright and allegedly surviving his 1593 murder. Theory suggests Shakespeare was a front, perhaps paid to shield a noble from theatre stigma or to conceal subversive ideas. For example, Bacon's New Atlantis ideals. Evidence surrounds this is like his will omits books or manuscripts, and 6 shaky signatures hint at illiteracy. Critics counter with testimonials from peers like Ben Jonson and the Globe Theatre's records. So there has been criticisms to debunk or defunct the conspiracy theory surrounding it. Why was it placed in the top 10? Well, there's a big historical legacy here. It was 10th because pre-1800 skepticism appears in Herbert Lawrence's The Life and Adventures of Common Sense, 1769, while Delia Bacon's 1857 book, post-1800, formalised it. By 1800, Shakespeare's idolization by romantics clashed with Enlightenment snobbery, birthing a debate that spawned societies. For example, the Oxfordians, hope I'm pronouncing that right. At 10th, it's the least ancient, but culturally seismic, questioning the bard's genius, making it a modern conspiracy theory with Renaissance roots. So there you go, folks. In 10th place, that Shakespeare actually wasn't the author behind all his works. In 9th place, this is an Irish history one, if you know your Irish history. The Battle of the Boyne was rigged by foreign powers. What was the Battle of the Boyne? Well, on July the 1st, 1690, William of Orange defeated James II at the Battle of the Boyne in Ireland, a pivotal clash in the Williamite War. William's 36,000 troops, including Dutch, Danish, and Huguenot forces, crushed James's 25,000 Franco-Irish army near Drogheda, securing Protestant ascendancy in Ireland. But what are the conspiracy theories though? Was it rigged? Some claim foreign powers, chiefly the Dutch or French, orchestrated the outcome for geopolitical gain. Theories suggest William's allies, for example, the Dutch States General, sabotaged James's supply lines or bribed his officers to ensure victory, cementing the Glorious Revolution in 1688. Alternatively, French King Louis XIV, James Baker, may have deliberately withheld full support to weaken both sides, preserving French dominance within Europe. Was there any evidence? Well, James's army was poorly equipped, for example, mismatched muskets, and his retreat was hasty. Some Irish accounts hint at betrayal by Jacobite commanders, for example. Official history credits William's strategy and numbers, but Irish oral tradition suspects a fix. No definitive proof exists, but contemporary records, for example, William's dispatches, focus on tactics, not intrigue. What is the historical legacy of this event and its ranking? Well, the Boyne is entrenched in Protestant rule and folklore over Ireland, celebrated by the Orange Order marches, predominantly throughout history, but especially from the year 1800. It fueled Irish Catholic resentment, shaping national identity. At 9th, this late 1600s Irish conspiracy reflects colonial power, plays in foreign meddling, and its regional stakes and pre-1800 roots clearly fits the bill, and it's why it's ranked in at number 9. In 8th place, we have the Gunpowder Plot was a government sting. What was the government plot? Well, or the Gunpowder Plot, sorry. On November the 5th, 1605, Guy Fawkes and 12 Catholic plotters aimed to blow up England's parliament with 36 barrels of gunpowder, killing King James I to restore Catholic rule. Fawkes was caught in the cellar and then tortured and executed in 1606. What are the conspiracy theories? Well, was it a setup? Robert Cecil, James's spy master, may have engineered it to vilify Catholics. The Mount Eagle letter, dated October the 26th, 1605, warning Lord Mount Eagle to skip Parliament, suggests leaks, possibly from Cecil's agent, Thomas Percy, who was a plotter. Gunpowder, tightly controlled by the Crown, was improbably amassed 2.5 tons, hinting at complicity. Some argue that the plot was fabricated entirely. For instance, Fawkes as a patsy to justify laws like Popish Recusants Act, which came into effect in 1606. James's paranoia, for example, the Gowrie Conspiracy in the year 1600, and Cecil's ruthlessness bolster suspicion. No direct proof exists, however, but intercepted letters and Fox's confession muddy these waters. So there you go, folks. That is the conspiracy theory. What is the legacy of this? Well, by 1800, Guy Fawkes was a Protestant ritual, but Whigs like Macaulay questioned the official tale. At eighth, it's an early modern archetype of state manipulation. Its legacy in English identity and Bonfire Night secures its place as a pre-1800 conspiracy classic. So there you go, folks. In eighth place is that the gunpowder plot was supposedly a government sting. In seventh place, Julius Caesar's assassination was staged. What was it? And who was Julius Caesar? Well, Julius Caesar was a Roman general and statesman between 100 to 44 BCE who became dictator perpetuo, transforming Rome from republic to empire. He was assassinated by senators including Brutus and Cassius on March the 15th, 44 BCE in the Senate. More about the execution. Well, in Rome's Senate, he was executed by 60 conspirators, including Brutus and Cassius, as I said, who stabbed him 23 times. Suetonius and Plutarch record his rise to dictatorship perpetuo as the trigger. What are the conspiracy theories, though? Well, did Caesar orchestrate this? Facing foes, for example, Cicero's Philippics, and declining health, for example, epilepsy, according to Suetonius, he may have staged his death for martyrdom. He may have staged this, as I say, to fulfill his legacy, for example. His will, naming Octavian was finalised days before his execution. His calm reaction to Brut, which was Shakespeare's rendition, and the excessive wounds suggest theatre. A fringe theory posits he actually survived, escaping to Gaul or Egypt, with a double actually killed in his place, explaining his body's swift cremation. There was no autopsy. Historians, though, see a real plot. Senators feared tyranny, and Brutus' coinage brags of liberty. No ancient sources, therefore, hints at a staging of this event. Why is it so historically prominent, and why was it ranked in this list? Well, this assassination sparked Rome's civil wars and empire, and as I said, was immortalised by Shakespeare in 1599 and Plutarch. By 1800, Enlightenment thinkers like Montesquieu, in Consideration 1734, fueled its drama. At seventh, it's a conspiracy of cunning and power, less evidenced but tied to Caesar's ultimate legend. So there you go, folks. In seventh place was the conspiracy theory that Julius Caesar's assassination was staged. In sixth place, and this is a new one to me, is that the Templars hid secrets. Who were the Templars? Well, they were a medieval Christian military order founded in 1119 to protect crusaders. They pioneered banking and amassed serious wealth. In 1307, Philip IV of France arrested them for heresy, which is idol worship, burning Grand Master Jacques de Molay, their founder, in 1314 after papal dissolution in 1312. What was the conspiracy? Well, Philip, owing 300,000 lives, likely framed them. For example, confessions were tortured. For example, de Molay recanted. Theories claim they hid relics, the Holy Grail, Ark of the Covenant, Christ's bloodline via Magdalene, from Jerusalem's Temple and Mount, fleeing to Scotland. For example, Rosalind Chapel's carvings, or America pre-Columbus. Some tie them to historic wisdom, for example, Gnosticism, preserved in Freemasonry in 1717. The Sinian parchment 1308, rediscovered in 2001, absolves them, suggesting papal coercion. Treasure hunts, for example Oak Island, yield nothing concrete, however. What is the historical legacy of this? Well, by 1800, Romanticism, for example Scots Ivanhoe 1819, and Masonic lore amplified their mystique. At sixth, it spawns ancient relics and medieval intrigue, while its enduring appeal lies in lost power and hidden truth. So there you go, folks. In sixth place, we'll have the Templars hid ancient secrets. Now we're into the top 5, folks. In fifth place, we'll have that the lost city of Atlantis was actually real. What was it? Well, the story of Atlantis comes from the writings of the Greek ancient philosopher Plato around 360 BCE. He described Atlantis as a powerful island empire that sank into the sea 9,000 years before his time. Some think this story may have been inspired by Egyptian tales or the volcanic eruption on the island of Thera, now Santorini, around 1600 BCE. However, many believe that Atlantis was a real place. Some theories place it near Santorini because of the volcanic rock, in the Bahamas due to a rock formation called the Bahini Road, or even in Antarctica before it was covered in ice. These theories often suggest Atlantis had advanced technology like crystal power and flame machines were lost in a great flood or hidden by priests. Even explorers like Christopher Columbus were sometimes linked to the search for Atlantis. However, there is debate around this because Plato writings are unclear. For example, he mentions 9,000 years, but it might have been a mistake for 900 years. Also, no one has found any actual ruins of Atlantis. Most experts believe Plato's story was meant to be a moral lesson, not a true historical account. Despite the lack of proof, the idea of Atlantis has remained popular. During the Renaissance, writers like Francis Bacon wrote about it, and in the 18th century, some people tried to connect it to their own histories. Atlantis is a fascinating mystery, ranked 5th in popularity amongst ancient enigmas. It continues to capture our imaginations as a symbol of a lost paradise and the thrill of discovery. So there you go, folks. In 5th place is that the lost paradise of Atlantis, the lost city of Atlantis, was actually real. In 4th place, we have that Alexander the Great was poisoned. Who was Alexander the Great? Well, he was a powerful king from Macedonia in Greece, who, by the age of 32, had conquered a huge empire stretching from Greece all the way to India. He died in Babylon in 323 BCE. How did he die? Well, he got sick and died after 12 days of illness. Ancient writers say he had a fever and became paralyzed after drinking at a party. People thought he might have died from malaria, typhoid fever, or even too much wine. But what is the poison conspiracy? Well, many people think Alexander was poisoned. They suspect his own generals, like Antipater, Ptolemy, I can't really pronounce it, or Cassander, who might have been afraid he would have killed them. Some even point to Aristotle, a famous philosopher, or Alexander's wife, Roxana, as possible suspects. His symptoms could match poisoning from things like arsenic or striking. There was a banquet with a man named Medius that some people believed was the moment he was actually poisoned as well. His body was preserved in honey, which was very unusual. Then it disappeared, and this also adds to the mystery. whilst no one in ancient times agreed on the causes of death, and disease is still very much a possibility. That's why the conspiracy theory persists. Why do people care, and why does this that deep in historical legacy? Well, Alexander's death led to wars between his generals, which changed the history of the region. For hundreds of years, people have actually still continued to debate how he actually died. The mystery of his death, combined with his legendary status, makes it a very popular historical puzzle, and it's ranked fourth for being deep in ancient mystery for this historical intrigue. So there you go, folks. In fourth place was that Alexander the Great may have actually been poisoned. Now we're into the top three, folks. In third place, we'll have that the Black Death was actually a plot. What was the Black Death? Well, it was a terrible disease that swept across Europe between 1347 and 1351. It killed millions of people, with estimates suggesting it killed between 25 to 50 million people. It was caused by a bacteria carried by fleas and or rats, and it came apparently from around Asia. The spread of it hit cities very hard, and it changed the way societies were actually organized. But where did the idea of a deliberate plot come? Well, back then, people were terrified and confused. They blamed different groups, for instance, different ethnic groups, different religion groups, people with leprosy, or even foreign invaders, saying they poisoned whales. People were tortured into confessing these crimes. Today, some people think it may have been a biological weapon. One theory is that the Mongols threw dead bodies into a city called Kaffa to actually spread the disease. Another idea is that secret groups actually planned it. Some also thought that it was God's punishment carried out by a few informed humans. Although there is no proof that the Black Death was planned, and it must be important to stress that, it spread naturally through trade routes and indeed, as I said, through fleas and or rats. But because everyone was so scared, they wanted to find someone to blame, which is why conspiracy was rife and still is rife to a certain extent. Why does it matter? Well, writers and religious leaders wrote about the chaos and fear of the time. The Black Death led to laws about how to handle diseases, and it also led to prejudice against certain groups and or religions. Because it killed so many people and because it blamed so many people afterwards, the Black Death is a big example of how fear and power can lead to conspiracy theories moving forward and to be continued. Therefore, it's ranked third because of this. So there you go, folks. In third place was that actually the Black Death was a plot to kill these amount of people. In second place, folks, we have that Cleopatra's death was actually a cover-up. Who was Cleopatra? Well, she was the last queen of Egypt, famous for her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. She died in 30 BCE after losing a big battle to Octavian. The official story, or the traditional story, is that Cleopatra killed herself by letting a poisonous snake, an asp, bite her. But the conspiracy theory is that some people think she was actually murdered by Octavian. He needed her dead to take over Egypt, but he didn't want her to be seen as a hero. So he may have made it look like suicide by Cleopatra. There are questions about whether a snake bite would really kill her so quickly, and her guards were supposed to be very strict. Another idea is that she faked her death and escaped with Antony to another place like Nubia or India, taking her treasure with her. The fact that her tomb has never been found and that the Roman raiders who told her story may have been biased makes people suspicious still to this very day. Also, the death of her son Caesarion further adds to the suspicion. Most historians, though, still believe she killed herself because she was proud and didn't want to be captured, but there are still a lot of unanswered questions associated with this event and Cleopatra in general. Why is this so significant? Well, Cleopatra's death led to Egypt becoming part of the Roman Empire. Her story has been told in many famous plays and various other works of art and films and stuff. As people became more interested in ancient Egypt, her legend thus grew. The mystery of her death, mixed with her powerful and romantic life, makes her story very popular, and this is why her conspiracy theory associated with her is ranked at number 2. So there you go, folks. In number 2, that Cleopatra's death was actually a cover-up to greater things for either Cleopatra or indeed Octavian. And in first place, folks, apparently, according to AI, the number one conspiracy theory throughout ancient history is that the pyramids of Giza were built by an alternative force, such as aliens or time travelers, etc. What are the pyramids of Giza? Well, the Great Pyramid of Giza is a huge tomb built for an Egyptian king named Khufu around 2630 BCE. It's made of millions of giant stone blocks and is incredibly precisely built. People are amazed at how the ancient Egyptians could build something so big and accurate, and it's also aligned with like various planets, etc., etc. Let's look at various conspiracy theories. Well, let's start with the alien theory. Some people believe that aliens must have helped build these pyramids. They say that Egyptians couldn't have done it alone without their simple tools. They point to things like the huge size and weight of the stones, for example, how perfectly aligned the pyramids are with the stars, and ancient stories with the sky gods, etc. People like Eldrick von Däken have written books about this idea, for example. They wonder how they move such large stones over such large distances, which is why theories persist that people or inhumans like aliens may have actually contributed to the building of these pyramids. What are other different theories? Well, some are convinced that they were built by lost civilizations. Some think maybe people from the lost city of Atlantis or another forgotten civilization may have actually built these pyramids. Another theory is that time travelers actually built them. A few people even suggest that time travelers from the future may have given Egyptians the technology to build these pyramids. Another one is around secret priests. Other people think that a secret group of Egyptian priests used special knowledge to build them. The normal explanation is that scientists and archaeologists believe that Egyptians built the pyramids themselves using ramps, sleds, and a lot of hard work. They have found evidence of these building methods that actually exist. However, the question of how they actually managed to do so still fascinates people to this very day. And this is why it's so popular. The pyramids are incredibly old and very impressive to the eye. People have been wondering for centuries actually how they were built. And it is the number one most popular ancient history conspiracy theory. It challenges the idea of what humans were capable of in the past. And the sheer scale of the pyramids alone make people wonder if humans could have actually built this on their own. And that is actually why, according to AI, it is ranked number one as the greatest ancient history conspiracy theory of all time. So there you go, folks. That is the top 10. Do you agree or disagree? As I say, I have my own views on it, but that's for like another video and discussion. But yeah, folks, what does everybody think? And what should my next top 10 video be on? Say it could be anything throughout history. Say I've already done the top 10 most controversial figures in Irish history. My last videos were the top 10 most significant events of the 19th century. And obviously this video has been the top 10 most ancient history conspiracy theories. But what should I do next? Say it could be on any topic. Just let me know and I'll get it sorted for you. But yeah, folks, thanks very much for joining in. I hope you liked it and stay tuned for the next episode.